we are starting on Apple TV Plus with a new horror film which arrived on Friday the 14th of Feb. It's called The Gorge. And here's a clip.
West Tower Observation Post. Your home for the next 365 days. There is no outside communication here.
What's that on the other side?
That is East Tower. Contact with the other side is strictly forbidden.
So what's the mission? To keep people from going in the gorge?
No. You need to stop what's in the gorge from coming out.
So I do love a horror movie. I loved The Queen's Gambit, which starred Anya Taylor-Joy. And I loved Whiplash, which was the breakout movie for the fabulous Miles Teller. So when I saw they were both appearing in this, not just those two, but also Sigourney Weaver, I thought, I'm well up for this. However, quite early on, there were a few red flags. Okay, so they say show, don't tell, don't they, Hannah, about how to make film and TV? Well, there's a lot of telling and not showing at the beginning of this, and at one point a man starts playing an accordion in a graveyard. I'm like, red flag, and then starts telling his story. Anyway, so for quite a lot of the beginning of this, I was getting really annoyed at how badly told the story was and how utterly implausible the entire setup was. But once I'd got over that, I just thought, why don't you just go with it and enjoy it? I did enjoy it. And at the heart of it, I mean, you've got fair play to Taylor-Joy and Teller for getting through it and making you care, because they managed to do that, God knows how. And the story about the two of them, they're both assassins, they're both snipers, and I will not explain the reasons why they're stationed on either side of this mysterious gorge, which, you know, and the reasons behind that and the backstory will all become clear, but it's highly unlikely tale. But yeah, they kind of fall in love across the chasm. They can see each other through sort of binoculars, and they write messages on big whiteboards for each other. That's rather charming. Sigourney Weaver, I have to say, she kicks off doing a very boring kind of interview scene with Teller, and she's not really used very well in this, I would have to say. You also have Soapy Dirisu, who was superb in Gangs of London, and he has the kind of Basil exposition role. So when Teller's character, I should tell you the names of the characters, shouldn't I? So Miles Teller plays Levi, an American sniper, on one side of the gorge, and Anya Taylor-Joy plays Drusser, who was a Lithuanian assassin, on the other side. Okay, so poor old Soapy Dirisu as JD. He's the guy who's now leaving his post in the tower. Each of them has to spend a year there. And so he has to give this very long speech explaining to Levi, like, this is how it is, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, yeah, as I say, I mean, it's just a totally crazy premise, and it gets crazier. Once they go into the gorge itself, it gets even more bizarre. But I enjoyed it. Yeah, I did enjoy it. It's just totally off the wall, but with absolute star power in the two leads. So, yeah, what did you make of this, Hannah?
Well, there is star power, which is kind of why it's so weird, I think. And like you say, you think it's going to be amazing because of it. And you have to get over the fact that it's a bit ridiculous to actually kind of start to enjoy it. I mean, the idea that two snipers fall in love from across the gorge is kind of crazy, weird premise for it anyway. It's not, I'm going to be really honest with you, it's not for me. I find it too kind of far-fetched, too ridiculous in places. I don't think the narrative's that great either. And given the star wattage of this, I do feel it could have been kind of better, and I'm kind of surprised they wanted to be involved in it. But having said that, this is a genre that it's, you know, it's not my thing. It's not something that I absolutely love. So for somebody who perhaps, you know, does like this more sort of far-fetched, slightly unbelievable storyline, then it's for you. But no, I've got to be honest with you, it didn't catch me.
Okay, and while we're about it, another horror movie, post-apocalyptic thriller Elevation, is currently available on Prime Video. That stars Anthony Mackie. And while in the Gorge there are monsters coming from the deep, in Elevation there are these monsters that cannot go above 8,000 feet altitude. But if you go below that line, they're called reapers. They're kind of like these giant bugs that have conquered the planet. And if you go below that line, they will try and kill you. So yeah, check that out. That's quite fun.